Okay, my algebra students, holy cheese, tomorrow's the last day of the school year. Again, one of the algebra students I have didn't take the last test. I didn't get it anyways. So if you have a 0 in the last test, email me. Maybe we can work something out. But anyways, hey, today we're working on solving equations where variables in the bottom. See, x, this one has an x. So how do you solve? Well, the first thing you have to do before you solve it is to see, are there any numbers that we put in for x that would cause a problem? Well, when do you have a problem? When you put a number in the denominator. Well, whenever the denominator is 0. Because if 0's on the bottom, it's undefined. That is true all the time. You can never divide by 0. So before I solve this, and we're going to solve this tomorrow or something like it, what number would I put in for this x that would cause the bottom to be 0? Now, if you want, you could actually say, when does x plus 6 equal 0? Then solve it. Now, some of us are good at numbers, so when you put it in, you can look at it. Some of us have trouble with numbers, so write it out. So negative 6 would be my undefined. So I would have to mark somewhere my undefined is negative 6. So if negative 6 was my answer for x, I'd have to cross it out. We can't use it. Or it's a restriction. Don't use it. So for this one, first thing I want to do is factor. Now, if you're good at just looking at it and saying, hey, what plus 2 is 0? Well, that'd be negative 2. In this case, we have two numbers to worry about. What minus 2 is 0? And that would be 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Now, x plus 2 is the same as x plus 2, so you don't have to worry about it if it's the same, because whatever it caused this to be 0 would cause this to be 0. Now, again, if you have trouble with it, x plus 2 equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0, and solve it. So let's look at some more. So this one, I don't know why this one always throws people. What do I put in for x that would cause it to be 0? And that is 0. Yeah. So that's an easy one. This one should be pretty easy too. When does x equal 0? Well, when x is 0. And what plus 1 is 0? Well, it's opposite. So it'd be negative 1. Or if you need to, go x plus 1 equals 0 and solve. Subtract 1. Hey! Now, whenever you have a term with a square or higher power, you need to factor it up. So what are my undefinedids? Well, what plus 1 is 0? Well, that's negative 1. And what minus 1 is 0? That would be 1. Now, these two are exactly the same, so you don't need to worry about them because you've already found it. So this one, factor, be x plus 5, x plus 1. What plus 5 is 0? Or if you need to, x plus 5 equals 0. When does that happen? Oh, no! When x is negative 5. What plus 1 equals 0? When x is 1. So you got to put like a little reminder for people. Look, when we're solving this, we cannot let x be negative 5, or we can't let x be negative 1. Now, this is already shown, so we already found it. So I know I did this quick, but see if you can figure out these two. What would the undefineds be? And then turn me back on. Okay. So first we factor. This is the difference of squares. Use factoring an awful lot in math. Yuck. So what plus 5 is 0? Well, that would be negative 5. Or what minus 5? Well, that would be 5. Now, again, it's nothing wrong with it. Hey, x plus 5 equals 0. Subtract 5. Oh, negative 5. And then x minus 5 equals 0. Hey, 5. Now, notice we already have both of them. So you don't need to do it again with those. But let's see what we got here. Oh, GCF. Always factor out the GCF first. Tricky, tricky. Difference of squares. So let's find our undefined. Or our restrictions. Some people use restrictions now in the new age. What do you put in for x to get 0? Well, that is 0. What plus 1 is 0? Well, that's negative 1. And do we have anything different? Well, x plus 1 is the same. Oh, x minus 1 is different. What minus 1? Well, that'd be 1. Or 1. And then x we already did. So you don't have to do it again if we already did it. So notice this one has 3 undefineds or 3 restrictions. And then tomorrow we're actually going to solve these. Holy cheese, might be 2 videos tomorrow. But realize tomorrow's the end. Then you got all summer to sit in the sun and wave at the passing cars. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.